we are broadcasting, and the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're playing Root, the role-playing game. I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Game Master. Our players tonight, Paul Weimer as Arbon Ironwing,
Sometimes you don't want the muscle in on the delicate negotiations.
Nobilis as Lancelot Vint,
Hi there.
Jason Banks as Clem Sparrow,
Greetings, everyone.
David Archambault as Nigel Farnboot,
Well, I wonder what's going to happen now.
and Lee Burdett as Peppa Pika.
I really shouldn't be looking for trouble, but the temptation is so high.
Well, let's talk about where we last left our vagabonds. You left having changed your status quo somewhat significantly. In addition to proving the workability of the cure for the blight that's currently plaguing the crops of Patchwood, you proved in a small test area that your solution could work, but then you managed to persuade the Marcasate Count here in town to use the full resources and infrastructure of the Marcasate to enact this cure in a way that will help the whole town, but of course also help the Marcasate, because they're not doing it for free. They're doing it because the Marcasate is a resource that they control and hope to make use of in their larger expansion efforts. But it also helps Millie and Kaylee and the other farmers of Patchwood who are just trying to get by. But you also found in that particular meeting that you were in a position of letting him know that the Corvid conspiracy had hired you to kill him. And you told him in context of saying, we're not gonna, though.
This is why you didn't have Arbin there.
Yeah. But as a result, your recent, credit with the Marcasate and the ability to move this cure for the blight forward, probably the Corvid conspiracy is not gonna take that lying down. After all, the job to kill the Count was the way that you were supposed to be making things right after taking credit for murdering one of their other operatives. So,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's probably,
we get in the worst trouble for not killing people.
yeah, well, that's how it goes sometimes.
Twice.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, you would have made the monks mad if you killed Rhodia. But it
Yeah,
certainly, well, hey, it's, but as we pick up with everybody, you had been asked by the Count to stay in town for the next few days, and he had asked you to try to not make any new messes for him. He, in particular, had hope that you would, certainly an understanding that if you are attacked by someone, you are permitted to defend yourselves. It's not like he's saying that you need to surrender, but he is asking you to not make any first strikes and to just generally be a calm presence here in Patchwood for the time being. And so, in that context, as you finish up your meeting, you leave the town hall realizing that he definitely did have a bunch of guards surrounding the meeting room, ready to take action should the conversation have gone another way. but you returned to the Roadhouse, this little inn on the outskirts of town where you'd been staying. You let Arbin know what was going on, and Vagabonds, what would you like to do next?
Hmm.
You know, I think for the first time in all of our travels, this is the only time we've not been running from someone, taking the blame for something, setting up some sort of scheme to get into somewhere or glue something to a central post in town. It's almost like we have a moment to breathe.
I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, ditto. All right, I took a nice deep breath.
Now what?
Okay.
Seems overrated.
Yeah. Breathing is not necessarily
Yeah, I imagine Nigel's just kind of sitting in on the side and just like with this book and kind of staring at it page and just slightly just like, I can't seem to write since I don't have anything anything going on.
We have a moment to ourselves before the next storm. So if I understand this correctly, he doesn't want us to abscond, but he also doesn't want us to cause trouble. I'm just understanding that correctly.
Basically, yes.
Okay, so that I won't say that makes us prisoners here, but we're kind of limited in our options. We can't decide to suddenly hair off on our own to somewhere else. I guess he wants us nearby to test this whole blight thing and everything else.
Right.
And possibly we've told him that we're not going to kill him. I wonder if he's having us be the what is that phrase, Nigel? Judas goat for a response from the COVID conspiracy. Once they realize that we haven't done what we said we're going to do, they will react and we would be the target. Maybe he wants to pull those facts.
We would we are not forbidden from defending ourselves if they do decide to act, and I'm certain as long as we don't if we can avoid it from being public.
If I was the COVID conspiracy, and I'm not, and we're not, the way you attack a group such as us is you attack the people we're connected to and force us into an action of either we let it stand by or we break our word to actually act. And so it's those we've met in the town here that would be worried about the COVID conspiracy going after, daring us to do something about it and getting us into further trouble and chaos. And so it's spread all sorts of problems.
Well, I mean, maybe, but they haven't been so bold as to attack out in the open. I mean, even with the bombing, it was subterfuge and weeks of planning. And then you look at Rhodia and how she has come for us. It has all been with sleight of hand and trickery. I don't necessarily think that they would want an out and out confrontation, even if it was, say, going after some of the farmers or something, especially since there isn't just us here. There are guards trained. So I don't know.
No, I think you should not attacking assets here to get at us. Not attacking the markets, attacking us and what we are connected to. That's what I'm worried about, that they'll strike at us, as you said, with subterfuge and trickery, not coming up to assassinate us, but let's say going after a certain farmer or a certain sawmill owner.
Well, we could take the time to, just keep eye on things. I mean, I'm not against going to help out our farmer friends.
I wonder maybe if we should take time to try and identify further hideouts for them.
Yes, you see that's not. I mean, we've we've had one destroyed. Where else are they? Are they
And
nesting?
I-
Is I think is the right phrase.
And take out a,
yeah, I think
take out
that,
Or is that was that
basically-
beyond what the
I think that might
account
be
wants.
stirring up trouble.
Oh, I'm not talking about going anywhere to do it. Both Peppa and Arbin have flown around the town many times, and I think there is a feature of that one hideout that I think would be very common for any hideout. Is it would be a
Door?
place where you can see a potential target.
Hmm.
So if we can see the area that would have a view of, say, the town hall or the sawmill site, you know, and he's gonna take out a piece of paper and I just like, so what is the general shape of the town? And just basically work on drawing a map of the clearing.
I think the problem is that there are so many patches of trees that there are always going to be places where you could find a lookout spot.
Well, I feel like if we can identify, narrow it down.
That's the problem, is that there's no way to narrow it down. I'm a bird. I can sit up on a branch all day long and like, okay, I'm just watching the world go by, and
Well,
oh look,
part of
there's
it-
somebody going into town hall. It
Part of
doesn't.
the use of a hideout is the hiding part. And there are any number of buildings up in the trees that seem like they would be unusable for anything. But we saw how the Corvids made that one place usable enough.
Mhm.
But that goes back to the whole these protesters and the protesting the demolition of these houses.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that didn't go so well for us when we tried to be.
When we tried to intervene, yeah, it did not.
Well, that
Yeah.
is why I'm thinking, using the map, using the aerial view and spotting where, where the patches with houses in them have the best view of potential targets.
I mean, the alternative is that we sit here and use up our gold and sit in this building for the next several days. I suppose we could do that. It doesn't seem likely that we do that, but I will just for the purposes of being complete, point out that is an option that we could just sit here and play Go all day. But I don't think we are going to.
One
I mean,
one detail just I'll toss out is that the count agreed to cover your.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, okay. I
expenses.
missed that detail.
see, that to me is like, why would we go seek out trouble when we can sit back, relax on the Count's dime, and play the banjo? Come on, guys, we got it easy. Why do you want to go and make trouble? He told us not to. We're trying to be his friend. We're trying to be on his good side. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about going anywhere. I'm talking about doing something to keep myself from. Keep myself
That's why
from-
just sits back in his chair and picks up his banjo.
You've got two birds here, Lancelot.
Yeah.
Birds are, I mean,
Well,
we
so-
want to fly.
Let me weigh in a little bit. I think, Nigel, you certainly could, with a map of the town, identify the most likely locations for a hideout that would be useful for observing, say, the town hall or other places, right? But I think it's also valid to say that they do not have to have a hideout in a derelict treehouse. If there are birds, they could, if they wanted to observe the town hall, just be in a tree branch and leave when someone comes looking and then go
Yeah.
back, right? And
It-
so it's a balance. You certainly could narrow down, like, if they were going to have a treehouse hideout in order to observe town hall, here are the places it would need to be. But it's also true they don't necessarily need to have a treehouse there.
But my thought that basically a shelter is that, if someone's going to be inside a building every day looking at a place, if you can't see it from the ground, it won't look suspicious. But if someone's sitting in a tree watching the town hall every day for a month, that might be something people keep an eye on. That's basically how Nigel's going for it.
Well, you could.
But
If
I
you-
just, it's like I was saying, it's like, Nigel feels like he needs to do something.
Well, how about we go help out our farmer friend? Like, it seems to be just her and her son and a few others. I mean, we could probably fix up a barn or some sort of equipment on the farm. I mean, honestly, I find it rather refreshing that for the foreseeable, few days, my hammer will be used for something other than 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 what it wasn't intended for. And you could probably find some things, or while we were doing that, you could also get a better and more detailed map of the town.
Maybe there's some place of historical significance that's on the ground.
Perhaps.
Millie would certainly be a font of information
Oh, and
for that.
oh, absolutely, and I'm sure she had stories to tell.
Okay. I can do that.
All right. So are you all just this is like, I believe we left in the afternoon, right? So you were just having this conversation up in your room at the
Yeah.
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 at the roadhouse.
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining, anyways.
Yeah.
And Lancelot, if you keep playing your banjo like this, you might end up with a residency here in the inn.
Eh, I need to keep moving eventually, but
He's
for
a
as long as we're
he's
here,
a vagabond like us.
yeah. I mean, I am getting kind of itchy, but
Well, let's talk about that. Okay, so
I mean, what do we want to do once the count lets us go?
Well, Sundale's off the list.
At least for the time being.
Yeah.
right.
I heard that there's ruins to the south of what was it? Fire Hollow. I want to have a look at those.
I wouldn't mind poking around some dusty ruins.
The
And
Tonnery.
Fire Hollow is a mining town. We could probably find some supplies, and I could doctor up some of our equipment some more. But also, we heard that there was a trouble with the mine there. We might be able to help them fix that as well.
So once we have the count's leave, as it were, we could head to Fire Hollow and then some go see these ruins and see what they're all about.
Who knows what we might find in Tonnery?
Yeah. I know I do want to spend a day or so just foraging outside the village for a little while. I've got some depletion and no money. So yeah, at least one day I'm gonna wake up early and go foraging.
I doubt the count would mind that much, especially if it's not all of us taking off into the woods.
You know, it is just interesting in retrospect that while you certainly gained some credibility that's meaningful from the count, in doing so, you basically agreed that you didn't need to be paid at all for coming forward with this.
He's
Yeah.
paying our bar bill. I don't think that's nothing.
Oh, fair. I'm just saying, it's
Yeah, we're not getting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not greedy vagabonds. So I think him paying our tab and our stay here until this is all settled. I think it's a fine trade.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how this pans out, because we're usually, like out of here as
Yeah,
soon
I
as
don't
we
think
do
we-
something.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever left the town without being in a rush.
Yeah, it's this
This
is
is-
a
this-
unique situation. Ever since the noodle incident, we've been just like, "Whoa, hey, this is a good time to leave." Hey, and
We no, although to be fair, we did leave Sundale at first on good terms.
Well, you had just
yeah,
had been framed. Someone tried to frame you for thefts, and
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't leave on the best of
Yeah.
there's
Now-
that.
Now, the primary authorities didn't believe you did it, but it was unclear whether the townsfolk in general would. Although I think they came to understand that it was probably not you after their seed vault got robbed after you left town. So
Yeah,
Ooh,
I think
Yeah.
they pretty much pinned that one on Millie.
you know,
Or no, not Millie, the other
squirrel.
the other chick.
yeah,
The-
the
the-
beaver.
Yeah.
or otter. It was a woman who was not happy with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have.
Nomi Keel.
There you go. That's what it was.
You know, while we're out foraging, we could also look for some seeds to help replace what they lost. I know we can't,
well,
acquire that
that's-
many. But
yeah. I don't think we can make that much difference in that regard. No, I like the idea of heading over to the ruins. That's the direction I'd like to go.
That would be good.
I mean, exploration is fine with me.
Yeah.
And hey, maybe if we're in a place that isn't, under the sway of one faction or the other, we won't have to take blame for a murder, dispose of bodies.
Yeah.
The usual.
Our usual.
Or at least there won't be innocent bystanders.
That is also true.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting into a fight where you don't have to worry about, about anybody that might get injured being someone that doesn't, at least at some level, deserve it.
So, if it still just feels too awkward to not have something rushing you out of town, I'll remind you that you have now fundamentally betrayed the Corvid conspiracy in a meaningful way, and so.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
there is-
yes.
there is
We're not
that.
being rushed out of town.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
Well,
yeah.
it's because it will probably take a few days for that news to get to them in time for them to do anything meaningful.
Yeah.
But that clock has started.
Yep, it's a doom clock.
Yep.
Well, it's also like at the same time that you imagine that they're gonna not want to just let it slide entirely, it is also they do have what they at least claim to be a larger mission that, how much of their resources are they willing to divert from that to chasing you?
I could think of a resource starting with the letter R and ending.
Well, it's also certainly true that by specifically siding with the Marquisate against them, you have made yourselves agents of the tyranny that they have sworn themselves against.
At least in the propaganda.
Well,
Yeah.
at least in the way they think about it.
I mean, yes, there is a slowly ticking clock for when we will probably either have a response from the Corvid conspiracy or none at all. It just depends because you never know. I mean, by doing this, we have eased up some of the tension here, and this may allow them to get reinforcements and better supplies here to have a stronger foothold. I don't necessarily know how I feel about that for the denizens, but it might curtail the Corvid conspiracy from doing anything too drastic.
No, I'm more wondering what the Corvid conspiracy is going to do to us, and in the name of hurting us. That's what I'm more concerned about. Not them fighting the Marcus. I mean, they'll do or not do that all day long. It's now the Corvid conspiracy is going to be striking at us, and probably, as I said before, indirectly. Is at least my fear.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, but if this allows the Marcus to get more, just to better foster their foothold here, it may keep them from even striking against us if we're still under that sway, or against any of our friends, right? Like, because when we got here, they weren't in a good way. Like, of
No.
course, they didn't take over the town by force per se, but it wasn't the best show of bravado they could have delivered, seeing as they've had a few strokes of not so good luck. And this may be the turning point. This might be the stroke of luck they needed, was running into us. Though again, I don't know.
Plus, as agents of good luck is a sort of a change of pace.
That is also true. But again, I don't know how I feel about that for the denizens, because it does put them under the sway of someone who, for the most part, has been okay, I guess. But it
I
doesn't
mean,
mean they're not,
yeah.
we haven't seen them do anything as bad as the duchy. So
Yeah, I think the Marquisate comes out on top in comparison to the duchy.
and the Corvid.
Well, so far in our experience,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
far in our experience, so far personal experience says that the Marquisate is at least willing to, soft paw. I don't think
Soft
that
power versus hard power. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that even occurs to the Grand Duchy as an option.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know if they've even heard of the phrase. I think yes, the soft power is when you use the butt of the
or at
Like
least the
instead of
leaders
the-
that we've seen here and in Sundale are.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is very surprising, because, but again, we've also had favorable exits from these, well, except for the whole framing for theft. But other than that, it's been okay. Like all in all, it's not bad.
Well,
So here's the question. We've kind of said a couple of days as sort of a loose
uh-huh.
time frame, right? Because really what the count asked for in the abstract as opposed to the specific was he is going to work on getting the blight cure materials brought to town, which probably will take, like, he can send a very speedy courier to send a request pretty quickly, but to transport materials that are not just ready and staged and get them all back here and get that all set up, I mean, that's, you're potentially talking a week and a half minimum,
Yeah.
right? And so what he kind of was implying really is that he wants you to stick around until that happens.
Yeah. So I think that what we should be thinking about is, what are we going to do for a week or two while we're waiting for all that to happen? And personally, rather than piss him off and piss off yet another really important person, we're kind of running out of people who aren't pissed at us. I'm content to hang around and play the banjo in the tavern for a while, and write some new songs, and just wait for all that to come down.
I'm in agreement.
And we watch each other's backs, because the Corvid conspiracy might very well during that time, because they kind of know we're going to be here, are gonna, try and get back at us.
I don't think we
Yeah.
we go off alone. So Peppa, if you're going to go foraging in the woods, I'm going with you because isolating us is putting a big
Yeah.
fat target on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The that'll only take me like a day or two, and then the rest of the time I think we should probably help the farmers because however long it takes the Marcasate to get this stuff up and running, it's I mean the blight's still here. They need
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
go against our grain not to help the farmers.
Right, because
Yeah.
although the cure will be extremely helpful once it arrives, they are still losing crops by the day.
yeah. So yeah. I mean, let's be let's pretend to be productive citizens for a few days.
And I know that Nigel would want to do the map thing at least, like like in the evenings, work on it kind of thing.
Mhm.
Just, just out of curiosity, see if it might reveal something. But yeah, you'd help with the farmers. Maybe talk with Millie about the history of the town and get more material for the book.
Okay. So we're not really going to even do anything as roles here because this
Right.
is effectively downtime here. So you're helping out with the farms. They definitely appreciate it, especially well. So here's the question: are you asking for like day laborer pay, or are you just feeling like it's just something to do while your bills are already paid, or what's how's that work?
Um,
Um, I think to respect the work, we should ask for pay. If we don't, then we're not respecting the work. Like when we're too good to get paid, we don't want to come off as that. And
yeah,
also,
I don't,
also,
Yeah.
also
I don't think
depressing the
it's,
wages of
yeah,
also depressing the wages of the local area would not be good. So I think we ask
Yeah.
for regular
Yeah.
wages. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I've turned to an economist.
But yeah, no,
Uh,
that's I mean, it's the person's worthy of their hire. So,
Yeah.
you show me what to do, you give me a value at the end of the day, I'm good.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think then that for you can all that sounds like it's about right. Well, actually, let me just double check. I'm gonna look at the book. Um, so who would be doing that? I'm gonna look up what it suggests is a good rate of pay for that. But in who is let's say if a week is passing, who is doing that and for how much time?
I think Peppo, she does want to go out and forage for the first day, but after that, so if you're talking about a week being 7 days, she would be helping in the fields for 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
same.
I would be covering Peppa with the foraging, and then I'd be free to do it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, same with Clem because I do have a little depletion to get rid of, and foraging for some stuff is a good way to do that. And it's better to have 3 of us than 2.
I think Nigel will spend a couple days talking with Millie about the town, and then just then doing the other 5 working.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Lancelot's gonna play the banjo.
Yeah. No, hey, practicing the banjo is very important.
Right.
Are you gonna put any shows on?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have that, pass the hat at the roadhouse.
All right. Well, let's say, so it looks like what they suggest here is that a decent wage from a denizen, or a day or so spent foraging in the forest can fill 2 depletion. And so I would say that you can't get coin from foraging in the forest, but you get paid in coin from doing your working on the farm.
Right.
So you could all, by, putting in the work, make some money here, but up to you. It's kind of in character or not. If you've just got your hotel room and meal tab paid for.
Yeah. I think it would be in character for Peppa to help out.
Mhm.
And I think it would be in character for the N team as a whole to help out.
Okay. Yeah. So as a week goes by, does anyone do anything notable that takes more than a moment to other than the foraging or the working on the farm?
I got nothing on my list.
I'm gonna fly straight for a change.
And Night, I don't know if you want to do anything, but Nigel would definitely spend a couple of days talking to Millie
Okay.
about
Okay.
the
Yeah.
history of the town and
Sure.
such.
Yeah. So I think she's happy to tell you all sorts of stories. I think you don't get paid for
No,
that
no.
time. Yeah, I'm just saying. You know. But she is certainly happy to talk about the old days and the history, and she's old enough that she remembers when she was really little, when the Erie dynasty was she wasn't really even old enough for them to have been here in force, but she certainly remembers when they were occasionally in town and still thought of it as their territory. And it was very much at that time the sort of thing where mostly they're not here, but every so often they are, and you better be ready to do what they say when they show up. And certain things that need to be sort of kept up, just because otherwise they'll be mad if it isn't. And that sort of thing. But at the same time, mostly you don't have to worry too much about them. It's just kind of be ready when they show up, and that just happens more and more infrequently, right? But a lot of people in town aren't old enough to even really remember the last time they were here at all.
He would have at least some talk about the protests that happen around the patches, and ask for her opinion on those, and see so many people don't remember when it was when the Erie were here. Do they have a like what's their drive towards keeping the keeping the trees and the houses that are rotting up there?
So I think she tells you, it's like, well, I don't know the heart of every person there, but it seems to me that I doubt that a lot of them are all too worried so much about the houses themselves as much as the Marquisate just coming in and feeling like they need to change everything. It feels kind of like an insult, like they think the town's better if they cut down all these trees, and there's kind of an implication there that, like, if you all were smart, you would have done this too. And maybe there's even some truth in that, but people don't like to hear it. And then there's also just the fact that our town is called Patchwood. We've had these patches of trees. It's kind of just been who we are. I mean, it's a little bit like saying if you got a place called Lake Town and then someone comes in and they put a dam up and now you don't have a lake anymore. Even if the dam is good for other things, it doesn't feel good to be in Lake Town without a lake.
True, that does make sense.
So I think there are people who are just kind of opposed to the idea that the Marquisate wants to come in and just change everything. And I think that there's really something to that. Now, I don't know if there might be some other people involved trying to, turn up the heat on all of that. Maybe that's true. But the houses, I don't know that people necessarily care very much about the houses themselves so much as the idea that the Marquisate just wants to strip away the identity of the town.
Would I know how much of a gossip Millie is?
I mean, you get the impression she's, like she's not a gossip, but she also mostly stays at home. She's not like out on the town spreading the stories all the time.
Okay. So unlike the goose lady from
Right, yeah.
yeah.
She's the sort of person who hears things and certainly is interested in learning about what's going on, but she is not the sort of like proactive eavesdropper and snoop that Bronwyn was.
Bronwyn, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Nigel would share with her what about the hideout that was up in one of the houses. Like, yes, actually, we discovered that there was a hideout or for a particular element that doesn't like to be named.
Oh, well, I mean, I can't entirely say I'm surprised. I mean, it seems like it makes sense that if you got a bunch of birds, that might be a good place for them to try to, escape notice. Um,
Yes, and we noticed that there was a particular spot up in the house that had a perfect view of the fortress that was blown up.
my hope when the Marcus 8 came rolling in, and this is kind of what they told us, was that, they were here to kind of, protect us from, these sorts of violent and, controlling, like the duchy coming in or people who are just, going to be criminals and violent and all of that. And, I have to say, as much as I kind of like the sound of that, I can't say that I'm too impressed so far with their ability to keep doing that because it seems more like that all they've done is made this place a place where their enemies can attack them instead of leaving us alone and going after where they are.
Well, it's one of those things where you would, given the nature, you would expect that to happen wherever the Marcus comes, even if if it's not here, then it's some other clearing.
Well, there are some that are speaking just pure out of pure self-interest that are kind of hoping that the Marcus 8 would go on and move on the front lines down on into Sundale, which I guess is their plan anyway. But uh, I can't help but think that it's not really being a good neighbor to you know solve your problems by dumping them on someone else. But it's also probably true it'll make us safer here.
Well,
Can't blame people too much for that desire.
you, I can't. But given the given uh, given my experience with that particular group uh, of birds, you know they tend to have enough resources to keep their attention in multiple places at once.
Well, I wouldn't know about all that. I just, that's why, I grew up, with my nose in the dirt and my hands in the dirt, and that's where I find it comfortable. And it's a little uncomfortable looking up to the air too often, I think.
Uh, well, at least the good things can come from the dirt.
Well, we try.
Yep.
So in any case, I think she's happy to tell you, stories about the history of the town and all of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But I think she doesn't really have a lot of new, like, actionable strategic information about
Yeah.
the current political situation necessarily.
Well, I
um,
figured just introduce the idea, and if something
mhm.
if it rings a bell, then it rings a bell.
I'll tell you that one detail that I think you maybe didn't know, that she can inform you, is that the previous mayor of Patchwood, um, you hadn't really heard anything about him except that the count is now living in the mayor's old house and is, essentially occupying that job. But essentially, apparently, um, the rumors are at least that he took a substantial payout and had moved east to live in the Marcus 8 proper as sort of in exchange for turning over the keys, so to speak.
Huh. Oh, that's interesting. And that is an oddly that's a pretty kind way of getting rid of someone.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can't blame someone for basically taking a paid vacation.
Or more
Right.
like a, here's $20, get out of here. But
Well, I
yeah,
mean, like you can imagine that wherever he went, it's like he probably find a with his experience, he can probably find a pretty good job,
well,
especially.
I think what she'll say is it's generous on the one hand, but the the implication is that he had better take that deal because he won't like the counteroffer.
Oh yeah, but like I'm just saying, like what the duchy would do. It's like you know, like the duchy would be like, you know,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
yeah, it's all relative.
In any case, as you're all spending time and just getting some work done, and as you're doing work on these farms, you're certainly seeing understanding all the more intimately the alarm that the farmers are feeling with just how fast this stuff spreads, and it's not especially pleasant work. It's kind of dirty and messy having to try to like burn these like clear patches to try to stop the spread. And then like sometimes it helps, right? Like, you can create a little bit of like a fire break and it seems like that holds off the blight from crossing over into that other patch, but then sometimes, you know, all it does is like you've cleared a spot, so now you get to have a tense few days to go back and check those again to see if it spread anyway. And, did you get it in time? There's this constant math of like you don't want to burn more than you have to, but you also don't want to burn not enough and find that it spreads anyway, right? And so it's a
It's
lot
like
of that.
it's almost like chemotherapy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Too much and you're killing things that you don't want to, too little and the cancer spreads.
Right. Right. But so it's just about a week later when you hear some buzz down in you're all still staying at the Roadhouse, I assume.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
You hear some buzz down in the common room that a big caravan has come in from the east, and people are saying that it has the new blight supplies and a bunch of new Marcus 8 people.
Well, that would definitely be something that Nigel will go down for.
Yeah, let's all take a look.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
No splitting up, remember.
Sure. Yeah, so I think you head down into town and you're taking a look, and certainly there's a lot of activity there, and you can see that there are people who seem like they're unloading a bunch of wagons, and you can take a look and see that some of what they are unloading does look like it might be, like big ceramic jars that might contain, like that are, with all the sorts of like warning labels on them. And then there's other, uh, you know, materials that look like they might be some of these other, materials needed. In other words, it looks like they are actually have at least a first shipment of what might be useful for clearing the blight for everybody. And we got everyone moved around.
Whoops.
Are you
All right.
talking to Billis? We didn't hear you for a second.
I need to step away a moment.
Okay. All right. So let me just move everyone back into place. But as as you are taking a look at all of that, you're seeing a lot of the activity there, and there are, in fact, a lot of looks like soldiers who have been deputized as National Guard types, right? You're here to do what needs to happen as opposed to soldier activities necessarily. Um, but as you're kind of looking at this and just looking at all of the busy work, and probably I'll go ahead and offer feeling pretty good because it looks like, hey, they showed up, they're doing it. This is great, right? But I will say that Arbin,
Mm-hmm.
you are looking around at all of this and probably feeling the same with everyone else, but then you happen to
Uh-oh, here it
look
comes.
at one of the fancier wagons
Mm-hmm.
and you recognize the crest on one of them.
Oh, It's a stream of invectives under my breath. Oh, time to step to the back of the group and try to look smaller. Oh, great.
Yeah, you do not see this.
I do not see her, but the carriage is there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I think the rest of you might notice Arbin's sudden change in demeanor. You tell me.
Well, we know that he's got some history with the Marquisate, so it's Lancelot stands up taller and kind of shifts over to help cover him.
I think so would Clem would, or I have my names above Clem now, so Nigel would also do that as well, because two can cover better than one.
All right.
Peppa will perch on top of Clem's shell, and from that vantage point,
Yeah, it comes like,
it's like,
can you see what they're all bringing?
looks like lots and lots of jars with lots and lots of warning labels.
Well,
I
I
think
guess that's good.
Yeah,
Also-
including the warning label on the carriage.
I think also Nigel would keep an eye out for any suspicious birds. Who because
that just reminds me. You have found over the last week that you have seen neither, talon
magpie-
nor feather of either the robin or the magpie. So this robin individual who you have encountered in a couple of different places, including the secret Corvid conspiracy hideout, and then also the Count's office in the town hall. Haven't heard anything or seen anything about them, and also this magpie that had been following you around. You don't see them at all either.
As expected.
Yeah, they're
Tick-tock,
probably
tick-tock.
reporting in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, while all of you stand in a suspicious clump around one of your party, what's the next step?
Arbin getting the sun desired maybe to go back to the roadhouse. Yeah. So Arbin's going to break his own rule and slip out and head back towards the roadhouse.
Yeah, I'll go with him just in case we don't want any trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not there's kind of enough
They don't need us here.
activity and so on here that I think it's not difficult to slip away. But I mean, tell me what you're all doing next.
How do they seem to be setting up? Like, are they pulling into a certain area, like setting up kind of like circle the wagons kind of sort of thing, or?
Well, it looks like they have. It will take a little while to watch them setting up more of it. Right now, they seem to be just doing some staging, like, like inventory and everything. But they seem to look like they're going to be setting some area, maybe just outside of the clearing center, to establish a sort of manufactory for the material you need.
Clem he's gonna keep watching. Well, I mean, especially since we're known for having, given the count the information, and so he just finds it interesting and nothing too suspicious. So he'll keep an eye out. Plus, if we all just slink away,
It'll
might-
look
Yeah.
bad.
it might look a little odd.
Yeah, Peppa will stick with Clem.
Um, does Rose come and help with this, or is she uh, sticking with the sawmill?
I think you, watching around, for a little bit, you do see her, she was talking to somebody and then she hurried back towards the town hall and went inside. So like she seems to be involved, but you would have to kind of
Maybe not.
you would have to involve yourself more to know more detail.
Yeah, I think Nigel's just gonna go watch, and if maybe once it gets more more staged, he might approach and offer assistance with it. But just to start, just take notes.
So, given what you're watching right now, which is a bunch of Marcus 8 soldiers, most of them cats in full uniform, looking very busy and following orders to establish a lot of logistical work and staging, when you say offer to help, like, what do you mean?
Well, like, I guess once things are, maybe, I guess, I don't know. I guess me.
Well, no, I'm not trying to tell you not to. I'm just saying that right now.
I guess I don't realize what I'm saying.
Okay.
I offer to help.
Sure. I guess what I just I think if you just sort of kind of moved to that general area without saying anything or seeking someone out, I think they're mostly just going to say, "Please stay clear. Please stay clear, sir. We're very busy right now."
So, just like I actually you'd probably be trying to figure out how much of the mixture could be made with what he's seeing.
Okay. Well, you get the impression that this is maybe not enough for everything, but like also it might be what you were able to get here as fast as possible.
Hmm.
Yeah, basically it's just like getting estimation and
Okay.
doing, just taking time.
So I guess
make
what I'm
that.
just going to say is you're only by doing what you're doing, you're only going to get the vaguest notion of that. You're not going to have any details. If you want specifics, you're going to have to like talk to somebody involved.
Would Arbin have given us any clue as to why that symbol is a?
Maybe you should talk to Arbin about that.
Yeah, I'm waiting to switch scenes so that I can ask him.
Do we, while we're watching, do we see who the like out and out leader is? Like this one who seems to be in distinct charge, not just guiding around a squad or a platoon of guys to move things.
I think what you see right now seems to be the actual workers, and then like maybe they're like the, I guess sergeants, like whoever
Yeah.
they would be, like the people who are ordering everybody around and telling them what to do, but that you don't see anyone who looks like they're like the next tier up. But then again, this is all happening nearby the town hall, so it's possible they're all in there.
After a while, I guess we'll head back, especially since unless we see someone intriguing come out of said wagon.
Alright. Well, yeah, the wagon you think it like that it's sitting empty. Its
Okay.
occupant has already gone somewhere. But okay, so while you're how long are you hanging out there to just kind of watch this activity?
Just not long enough to be considered suspicious, but more like
Well,
a
there are
typical
lots of
gawker.
people in
Yeah,
town
yeah, yeah.
gawking, so
Okay.
you don't stand out in that regard necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess just long enough to kind of see if we've already missed the people who are in charge, and then we'll head back so we can figure out why Arbin exited stage left post haste.
You are seeing people who look like they're maybe like couriers or runners, kind of coming in and out of the town hall.
So yeah,
Basically, after Nigel can get is sure he has a good number on the amount of supplies.
Okay,
he's
you
gonna
you
just
have an extremely vague number, which is that this is probably not enough for everything, but that maybe they're planning to bring more. That's all you're going to be able to get from watching from a distance.
Well, I'm saying like basically once he's satisfied he has all the information he can
Okay,
get
but
from this,
what I
he's
just
going
said,
to-
is that sufficient? Would that satisfy him? That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right.
All right. And then he'll go back to the roadhouse.
Okay. Well, so first we had Arbin and Lancelot heading out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Arbin,
Yeah.
that was a pretty strong reaction.
I'm trying to keep all of us safe, including myself. Walk, 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 not slowing down, not slowing down, not slowing down.
Anything we should know?
Out of character, Christiana, I completely, since it's never come up in the entire game, I completely forgot her name. I gave her.
Well, I think that it is Duke, despite that it's a she. It's
Yeah.
not Duchess. It is Duke.
Yeah.
It's a title, not a like.
No, not a gender
honorific.
title. Yeah,
But Duke Theobald.
that's right. Thank you. That's right. Right. Because I was going with the Shakespeare thing. Right. Okay. So there is a Duke of the Marquisate whom I've clashed with in the past. Her name is Duke Tybalt, and I recognized her crest on one of those carriages. Uh-oh, I think we lost Nobilis.
Oh no.
He is
No.
frozen. Just as I'm about to give some.
He is.
Juicy
He is
exposition.
so shocked.
He's so shocked. Oh,
So
Well,
Shabbat says
perhaps
that-
perhaps go ahead and provide this exposition for everybody else, and then
I will
we'll-
explain that. So this is what I tell Lancelot. So before I really got established here in the woodlands, I did a foolish thing and made an enemy of her as a result of that foolish thing, capital F, capital T. And I'm not quite I'm being hunted in the same way that Clem is, but being in the same clearing as her is bad enough. Being in the same space as her is a good way for to us break our agreement with the Count. That's for sure.
All right. So I think unfortunately we're still waiting on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said that he lost power,
Oh. Well.
so
Okay.
it'll take a couple of minutes.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I think perhaps then let's envision that everybody else has come back to join as well, and so you're having this conversation with
Station in
everybody.
our
Okay.
rooms, yes. And you can see Arbin is visibly flustered, upset, nervous, and definitely not the Arbin you know and possibly love.
So we can scratch leaving a town not in a hurry. I don't necessarily know how the Count wishes us to know that it's okay for us to bounce, but seeing as the rest of the Marquisate is here, I don't think he would look too unkindly on us taking our leave.
Well, we don't want to wash on our deal, and maybe the formal "yea, verily, you may go now" is something that's done without me. I wasn't there for the original agreement, so might as well keep that tradition. I think I stay to the four walls of this roadhouse until we are ready to leave the clearing, for the safety sake of me, of you, of the clearing and our agreement. We don't want to have to be run out of town again, and it'd
And
be
I-
my fault because of my past conflict, shall we say.
And I also think we should probably do it under the cover of night. Just in case they have prying eyes or want to go for a walkabout during the day.
I mean, she's not hunting me just like in the same way that you're being hunted, Clem. It's more like if we're in the same area, bad things are going to occur. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Though, if she's as powerful as I'm assuming,
She's
she
a
would-
duke, so she's more powerful than the count.
Yeah.
so then she would definitely have feelers and eyes out, even if not necessarily looking for you, just looking for any person of interest. And
Right,
I'm-
and I am very high on that list. That's why I'm saying I'm staying in this roadhouse. So I mean, one random in. I mean, if I go on a flying expedition,
There's a knock on your door at the inn.
uh-oh.
I am not answering that. I'm not answering that door.
I
Clem,
Somebody else answer it.
Nigel will. I basically kind of motion for Arvin to get out of sight, and then just I crack
Step into
open
the
the door. and
yeah,
say,
back up into the
Hello?
shadows.
Well, I want you to tell me the what's the mental picture here. You have a small room at the inn.
Mhm.
This is a pretty standard, like, relatively bare bones room here.
I'm gonna get into the corner of the room and stand in the far corner of the room.
Okay.
Like
Behind the door.
Yeah, but like on the corner, like behind we open the door. And
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you open the door, and it is Luciana, the mouse, the woman who runs the inn, and she holds up a letter, like a rolled up letter with a wax seal on it. It says, "Got a message from the count."
Oh, okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Take in.
She hands it over and goes back downstairs.
Okay.
Oh,
Close
I
the
move
door.
once the door's closed.
let's see what it says.
What it says is pretty simple. It's pretty formal language, but the gist of it is essentially that Duke Theobald has arrived in town with the supplies for the blight cure, and she would like to meet the individuals responsible for bringing it to the Marcus 8's attention.
Oh boy.
Well,
You okay there?
I'm in character. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to meet the Count and Duke Teakville after all. I fear I've taken an ague or a chill or something. And we wouldn't want to spread that to the good Duke, especially when she's gone through all this effort of bringing these materials.
Who
To
are you
the
telling
town.
this to?
I'm telling this to them.
Okay.
I'm telling this to them.
right.
Oh no, it's spreading.
We could politely decline and say, that's not the
No.
recognition we were looking for,
No.
and we're
I
really
don't think
ready to be on the
that's
way.
No, you
that's
don't.
the
You
smartest
don't.
idea for.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want. You
Okay.
don't want to decline this. This is an opportunity for the rest of the N team to shine.
I
And to be-
I don't think I mean, sure, if all goes well, we could shine, but that hasn't been our MO, especially in very interesting or intricate moments of meeting important people.
No, but you do have Lancelot. I know. Who hopefully will both be back shortly. And I think he would agree with me that this is totally the N team's moment to step up a notch. But
Yes,
I should certainly not be anywhere near that conversation.
to be fair, to all their knowledge, you don't exist. So catch some Z's and relax. We, however, looks like we have a date with the Duke.
That's very alliterative.
I don't want to presume what Clem remembers in character, but I will remind you all that in your meeting with the Count, he pulled out a thick folder of intelligence that he had gained on your
Yeah.
Yeah, if you told me
Oh,
that
no.
he does have the
Not to
intelligence-
mention that Arbin has been with everybody helping out the farms all week,
Hence-
and like it's not like you've been in hiding.
This is why the sudden ague, it is a tragedy. It is a
We
terrible
can-
thing that this illness has stricken
Perhaps,
me.
perhaps
got
we'll
some
say
deep
that
state.
in the activities in this week, he took a had a bad reaction to some fertilizer. Over
Yes, or
during his
or
work
some
this week.
or a severe or not a severe, but a case of heat stroke per se.
Maybe we can just say that he's allergic to cat fur.
I,
No, no.
Oh my god. Oh god.
it's just like
And in order to keep the peace and to prevent insults from happening, that that he decided that it would be in everyone's best interest if he stayed home and guarded our things.
well,
Again.
at
I
the-
have the instinct that being allergic to cat fur is kind
Yeah.
of saying. It's
Yeah.
with like,
Well, then too. There's also the question of we don't really want to split up. If
No. I think everybody else goes but me. That's the only way this works.
And I honestly though, what we can say is because Arbin is not used to such work, such farm work, especially around open flames, smoke, burning fungus and molds, that he's developed kind of a cough, almost something similar to what miners get. And that's why he could not be there, and sorry for not being present for the Duke. I think that's our best bet, especially given the fact I don't think it would be wise for you to strut in nonchalantly in front of the Duke when you have such a complex and intricate past.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We don't want to insult the Duke. Duke's powerful, important, and keeping
We'll
on
kill
her
them
good
later.
side is a good. What's that?
I said we'll kill them later.
Yeah, good luck. I mean, if we thought killing a cat would be difficult, killing the Duke would be, beyond our capabilities. I would not want to fight the Duke. The Duke would.
I said that's why I said later.
Yeah.
We got
So,
time.
so does it say immediately in the letter?
Well, yeah, when does it say?
I
yeah,
mean, it doesn't specify a time frame, but I think you can read between the lines that you've
You don't
been
need the Duke later.
requested to stay in town essentially precisely for this purpose. Like he's had you on retainer so that when he needs you, you will come. Right? Like that's the basic, that's the things that they aren't saying, but when he asks you to stay in town, right? Is like
Right.
this is the thing he was having you stay in town for, so it would be like he would want to know why anything else takes priority over that.
Well, I guess we should go.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, we should wait till Lancelot gets out of the bathroom
Yeah,
because we need a banjo.
something about his lunch didn't agree with him, or
It's stormy headwinds in his stomach or something, or lightning or something.
He has a bit of the ague himself. I feel like I only ever learned that word relatively recently, and now I feel like I hear it all the time. It's one of those.
I
things.
came across it in a science fiction novel a long time ago, and it stuck with
Yeah.
me.
It reminds me.
I actually don't know what.
Yeah, it's
don't know the
basically
word.
an old-fashioned word for a being sick with something that gives you a fever. Am I? Is that your understanding?
Shaking, fever, kind of like a malaria would give
Yeah.
you an
Put it
ague.
in the chat because
AGUE. It's a weird word, but like it said, it's kind of an old-fashioned word that went out of popularity once we kind of had better understandings of the differences between various types of illness and how you can tell the difference between one and another, and it doesn't have to just become a catch-all for something that gives you
Yeah.
vague symptoms, right? But I feel like I've been seeing it referenced
See.
more often recently.
But someone from the old Erie dynasty, that it's totally an Arbin word.
so
So we're all just kind of yeah, we know that Nobilis will be back shortly. So apologies everyone that we're sort of spinning our wheels just a little bit here. Just because
Yeah.
we can imagine that Arben's talents would come in handy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Or Lancelot's tale.
Lancelot's
That,
son.
well, yes.
Yeah,
too.
Harvard salads are
Well,
not, are actually.
they would, depending on
How it goes.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, things went bad.
Well,
yeah,
so how about this? Like, maybe just a reminder for what you like. You kind of just imply that you ran afoul of, not to make too bad a pun, the this Duke. But have you told them like more in detail what you mean by that?
I have not in the past, and I've been very cagey here as well. So no, I've not actually said any. Arvin clearly is uncomfortable discussing the entire thing.
Okay. So in that context, would anybody be pressing for more information? Because it's one thing to just trust Arbin and go with that, and then that's fine if that's how everyone wants to play
I
it.
think
But it is also
Nigel
true
would-
that like he's implying that you have a big problem here without really telling you too much about what it is.
I think Nigel would have.
Yeah.
He
Okay,
was-
so let's play that out then.
Clem,
Let's-
by the way, Clem, as someone who is on the run, it's fine with him.
Hmm?
like this is I imagine this is before the letter.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Okay.
doesn't
But-
have to be
Sure.
necessarily, but yeah.
So-
Oh, there we go.
We might have Nobilis.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, but we can still,
Yeah,
we
let's.
can still
all
play
right,
out.
So, what happened with the Duke? What did you? What could have happened that could make it so bad for you to see her?
You really want to know? Maybe you should know. Well, maybe ignorance is bliss.
Come on.
Well, the Duke firmly believes in the oath of fealty running both ways, and I ran afoul of. Well, how can I put this? One of her I fell for the daughter of one of her retainers, and he was not amused by the idea of her daughter falling for a rogue warrior on the run. He challenged me to a duel for his daughter's honor.
She?
Yeah, and no, the retainer.
Oh, the retainer.
The retainer.
Okay.
The
So
retainer.
yeah, sorry.
Yes. One of the Duke's retainers.
Mhm.
I fell for his daughter. He did not like that at all. He thought I was well beneath her. He challenged me to a duel. And
Yes, you.
I did not mean to kill him. Although this can happen in duels, of course. It was not a duel to the death. It was a duel to first blood to satisfy his honor and basically to mark me and to get me out of the particular clearing. But he was not. He slipped, and my sword, instead of piercing his shoulder, pierced his heart. And so I made a permanent enemy of the Duke, who took losing her right-hand man rather badly. And of course, said daughter will of course not ever see me again because I killed her father.
So
But that's not why I am hiding in this room. Not because of the daughter, but because of the Duke. The Duke remembers, and the Duke will not forget. And yes, it was a sanctioned duel. Yes, there were witnesses, and all of that. It was all done according to the forms of both the Marcus and the Erie dynasty. But I did kill her retainer, and that is unforgivable.
Hey.
It's
Well,
not a
at
crime,
least-
but she will make me pay, if you know what I mean.
At least it's not something that we have to be, you know, unusually concerned about. It was a mistake, but it's not an unforgivable one on our parts.
Well, I disagree. I think we should be definitely be worried about someone who's got a vendetta against a member of our crew.
I'm not
Well-
saying, I'm saying Arben's actions are not
Yes.
something that we can.
Oh, right, yeah,
Wait.
like, come on, this kind of thing happens. Well, okay, it doesn't happen all the time, but
For
it
us,
happens,
it does.
and it's, I mean, we've all got reasons for being vagabonds, and yours is, I mean, to be honest, it's a lot more romantic than mine.
Well,
I just got bored.
well, I also think that if we give a plausible reason for Arben not to be there, such as an adverse reaction to all the burning and fertilizer and work that was being done, given that history, if the Count has informed the Duke of who our crew is,
And he would have.
Mhm.
she may let it slide for obvious reasons. Maybe she'll even assume that we don't know.
Nobilis, the other piece that you may have missed was that you have now received a summons from Count Dumont saying that the Duke has arrived with the cure for the blight and wishes to meet the individuals responsible to bringing it to the market state's attention.
Okay. If you don't go,
Yes.
there will be questions.
And if I go, there may be
Okay,
blood.
let's put it this way. The Duke outranks the Count, right? I don't know if the Duke is if this Count answers directly to this Duke or answers to someone else, that matters.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
If he does, then he may not be able to intervene. If he doesn't, then this Count would have significant reason to not be interested in having the Duke immediately take action against you. So that's a detail that we need to find out because it bears very closely on this.
Oh, I don't think.
But consider that not being there is going to cause just as much trouble as being there. Because then you'd be directly disobeying the a summons. This is not, oh, hey, I'm having this little get together. You might want to drop by. This is, you will come. This is an order from someone whose favor we are trying to curry.
Right, and I'm trying to avoid us losing that contract one way or the other. And I thought maybe
Right.
staying away was the safer way for the four of you.
We'll still have to answer for why you didn't go.
I'm sorry, I'm not just wouldn't want.
We were saying that he had a reaction to the smoke and
No,
burning
yeah,
of the work.
I heard that
And
part
it's
while
ill.
I was out.
I think
Um,
you could sell that, Lancelot. The question is, would you think that selling that is easier or better than me taking my medicine? And maybe this is now you get the
I mean, what
look.
are you under any specific threat from this person, or did you bug out before they had a chance to?
I am not under I am not being hunted by her. In
Okay,
game mechanics, I don't have the
she
hunter.
just really, really, really doesn't like you.
Right. I mean, out of character, she used to be on my character. She has an enemy. She no longer is, but that doesn't mean that Christiana picked
Right.
up that thread and put it on, gun on the shelf and
Oh.
waited, and now is
Mhm.
going to fire it.
So Clem is like, here's a question. Given that it was an illegal duel under the rules and not labeled you as a criminal or murderer per se,
Correct.
I'm assuming it was more of a banishment than or there was kind of an edict saying, I don't hold this against you.
So
There was no edict. It was more like
yeah,
leave,
so
leave now and never come back.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I had interpreted it
Mhm.
was, oh no, she's real mad. I had better leave before she does something.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to write it is like, yes, I'm voluntarily withdrawing from the
So
situation.
there was no banishment order. There was, I'm leaving now before I'm arrested.
On something else. I wouldn't be arrested for that because he said legal duel, but
Well,
you know.
so
I'll
on
be-
the other hand, though, who's to say?
Exactly.
Right.
She's a duke. There's plenty of it's like a crime can be manufactured
Well,
to suit.
Yeah.
so I guess the real dilemma is, Lancelot, which one are you willing to try to swing? Why he's standing before her after such a long time, or explaining that, say, a person that is a part of our vagabond crew that we may not know his past has bugged out for some reason.
I think that in spite of the risks, the best thing is for you to come along with us. We support you. The Count will probably support you depending again on where his allegiance technically lies. I mean, it would really make him look bad. It would really make him look bad if the Duke murders you in his house or has you arrested right there.
But if
At that-
if he's her vassal, then
If he's her vassal, then she can still do it. And it will still make him look bad, but there's less that he can say about it.
right, there's less he can do. I would like the thoughts of Peppa and Nigel, because you've been quiet for the last couple minutes.
Well, if you are going to come along, I would insist on you staying more to the rear of the group.
Well, he usually does that anyway.
That's
But
it.
no,
Hey, have you not?
That's not going to help that
No,
much.
no.
No,
I think it'll
like,
be.
we are.
When we go up to the receiving line, there's no standing behind anybody.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it could be fine either way because if she's not in control of herself, then she loses face before a subordinate, right? So, so it could be fine. I think you'll probably have an easier time with all of us there.
So give me a vote, stay or go. Everybody.
Go.
Go,
Go.
go.
Clem?
I'll have to say go, because let's be fair. You've been running this whole time, but if she's holding court, like Lancelot says, she may have to have some form of decorum.
All right, then I will join you. And we will meet the Count and we'll meet the Duke.
Oh boy.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Done, done, done.
We're off.
Am I going armed? Absolutely not.
What?
Well,
No, absolutely not. Because
I mean, to be fair, if they
Uh,
take our weapons,
carrying the weapon that killed her retainer, that's kind of, yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you
no.
have skills that would keep that I would allow you to be armed if necessary.
Exactly.
Well, I was
Nigel,
just going to say,
exactly.
the last time you went to meet the Count, you were also asked to
Leave our weapons at
leave
the
your
door.
weapons
Yeah.
at the door, and that's not
Okay.
going to be different this time.
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we go. Oh boy.
So are y'all just
Oh.
leaving your weapons in the room, or
No, I think we're taking them with us and gonna leave them in their custody when we get there. I
okay?
think.
Yeah.
All right. So you come out and you find that there are a couple of Marcus 8 guards that were standing outside the roadhouse, not like right by the door or anything.
Oh,
But
Christ.
they watch as you come out and sort of nod and gesture just like
Yeah.
I mean, your impression of these particular guards, they don't look like they're brandishing their weapons. They look like they're intended to escort you to the town hall as opposed to anything else. After all,
Right.
they did not break in and drag you out. They're
Yeah.
just here to escort you.
Yeah, if they if they had, you know, meant to break in and drag us out, they would have done so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 minutes ago.
All right, so yeah, you make your way to the town hall. You're seeing that there is, in fact, there. I think you pass that they have cleared sort of a vacant lot area, and they seem to be setting up some like temporary sheds, and they have loaded out what look like some great big metal tubs that look like they might be for bulk producing the material. There's activity happening there. But as they bring you to the town hall, sure enough, they say, "We're going to need you to surrender all your weapons before you go inside."
Okay.
I will- I-
Everything but my punch dagger, and I'm going to mark exhaustion to keep that hidden.
All right.
Yep, I will give them the blue sword as much as it pains me to do so.
Well,
I
the
kn-
funny thing about that punch dagger too is that it is sufficiently like nasty looking that it's just kind of like even if someone saw it, they would just like immediately look at you like, "Who are you to carry something like that?" Like,
They don't know her very well. That's all.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So sure enough, you notice as you're being escorted in that there's definitely, some like there's Marcus 8 soldiers that all have the same uniform, but some of them have sort of different little insignia and patches on them. They're ones guards that you haven't seen before. And you were brought into that same receiving room where you find that the Count is not sitting at the desk that he was before, but instead a different cat. It is, in fact, Duke Theobald. It is there, and as you are brought in and the door is closed behind you, it is 3 guards, the Count and the Duke, and all of you in the room. And just as the Count is beginning to introduce you, the Duke, looking right at you, Arbin, says, "I will be honest, I did not think you would come."
I was summoned, so I came.
Well, you did run away the last time.
I did.
He's fallen in with a different crowd lately.
The Count, incidentally, is looking a little, he's a cat, so we need a different phrase, but green in the gills is the expression that I was going to, I just a little bit.
Was this in his dossier? Maybe not.
The fur around his ears a little bit out, so I think, I don't want to give you too much I don't want to give you too much that would play into you actually trying to make a roll, but he does look, let's say, stressed.
Yeah.
He says, Honorable Duke, you have seen that I have managed to produce. This is the eclectic group of people that brought the wonderful solution to me. And it was vouched for, as of course, as we said, by And she just kind of like waves that aside and says, I had my own people check it before we arranged for this material transfer. The fact that this was something that you required the assistance of this group of derelicts and criminals for is not something that I am necessarily impressed with, although certainly I see the need. And so here I am. The rest of you, are you aware that you would travel with a murderer?
We all have a spotted past.
Oh, so you are all criminals then?
Under somebody's banner. I mean, the Corvids want us all dead.
The Grand Duchy wants us all dead too.
Yep, Grand Duchy wants us all dead.
The, the count is kind of like, ha, ha, ha. Yes, well, I think in the spirit of understanding that there's been a favor done to the Marquisate, perhaps we can look to find some sort of a neutral ground that we are having this conversation in. And the Duke just says, that does not interest me. What interests me is that justice is served. Tell me, Arben, how would you propose to see that justice is served?
Arvin takes a deep breath. And over, and he thinks of the adventures and times in rapid, with a second, of the times he had with the four of you. Font gives a fond look at each of you in turn. Steps away from the group, walks forward to a proper distance before the Duke, gets on one knee and says, my life is in your hands. And if you are to kill me, then you are to kill me. I will
Aye.
run no longer.
Before this goes on,
Yeah.
I'd like to try and do lore master.
Okay.
That's
So-
consult your knowledge in order to understand a political conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I think this would count.
Okay.
And then roll with
Sure.
cunning.
Sure. Hang on. Let me. I'm sorry. I'm just pulling up the. I want to look at the text of it myself. Is this something that you would have to take time to consult your? Let's see. When you consult your knowledge, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, sure. I'll let you roll for this. Sure.
Okay.
You're rolling with cunning. It's
Oh.
the first roll of the session.
That
And
is a 5.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
Yeah. So, what I'll tell you. So, on a miss, something about the situation doesn't fit the history. The GM will tell you what has radically shifted. And so, I guess what I'll tell you in this context is that from what Arben told you, assuming he's telling you the truth, just based on what you understand, you believe him. On that basis, he's right that if it was an officially sanctioned duel, she has no legal right to demand anything from him. But the fact that she is doing so regardless means that she is perhaps willing to exceed her legal authority, and there may still not be anyone else here with the authority necessary to challenge her on it. So I think your concern is she is off the playbook at this point. She is not behaving in the ways that the Marcus 8's laws should call for. And that means that she is unpredictable in ways that might well be very dangerous.
Right.
So, does that understanding cause you to react differently to what Arbin is doing?
Nigel is going to, because he wasn't before, he is now taking out his book and writing thing and just like perhaps something good for history to remember.
So, is anyone else doing anything?
Clem
I mean,
looks-
Arbin has just said, "My life is yours," and kneeled in front of her.
Yeah.
I
Clem looks flabbergasted. Yeah.
I mean, I think if anyone doesn't have something prompt, we're going to need to react to the situation as it's unfolding.
Mm.
is she pulling out a weapon?
I have not dictated
Yeah.
her reaction yet, so I'm asking if anyone is doing anything as
Okay,
Arbin is
I'm
doing that.
waiting. I'm watching her.
Okay.
Can I read a tense situation?
Yeah, yeah, you can. That seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
Just
Uh-huh.
so I can know, saying the thing about history to remember
Hmm.
is something that that Nigel said aloud. You want to,
Oh, okay. So you say up front that, that
writing it down,
it,
something for history to remember.
just that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think she's not paying any attention to you.
Okay.
So I think, let's do Clem's read a tense situation.
That's with what,
Yeah.
cunning.
Yes, cunning.
Oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, actually, no, I am. I'm very good at cutting. Actually, I'm much better.
Oh yeah, what are my
Yeah.
stats again? Yeah.
Exactly. I had to scroll up. Oh boy. Ugh. That is a 5 and a 1. So that is a 8.
Okay, well, with an 8, you still get to ask one of the questions of what's my best way out and through, who or what is the biggest threat, who or what is most vulnerable to me, what should I be on the lookout for, who is in control here. And you get a +1 when acting on the answers, depending on what you ask.
Yes. What is the best way out of this so that Arbin does not get killed?
Well,
Because I know who's in charge. I know who I should be on the lookout for. The best way out, the best way out of this
what I'll say is probably the best way to have Arbin not get killed in this situation, in the broad context of the situation, as opposed to like, how do we get out of this room, right?
Yeah.
Probably having him voluntarily give himself up to her is not a great play.
Okay.
You get
And-
the impression from her that she's not entirely rational about this.
Right.
Of course she's not.
So
Now, she hasn't done anything yet. I'm preparing to give her reaction to that. But what that means is, based on that reading, something to kind of change that dynamic, you could have a +1 for based on this roll.
So Clem will speak up
Hmm.
and say, "Yeah, what's that? Your honorable Duke, ignore Arbin's rash.
Well, you're going to get to roll. We'll see.
Oh, boy.
Ignore Arbin's rash reaction to his
How
own.
how
joke.
about this? Let me suggest that we have you go ahead and do the persuade an NPC roll,
Okay.
and then based on how you do, you can role play it
Okay.
accordingly.
Oh, and that's a charm.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
remember, you get an extra +1 because you are reacting. You know, this is based on your.
And my dice already showed me that they don't know what they want to do because I almost rolled a max and a 1 at the same time.
Oh,
Oh. Oh god. That's a 3. So 4.
Okay, as soon you get half of that sentence out, and she draws a short sword and hit the digs the tip into the table, and she just glares at you. Then she turns back to Arbin and looks at you, and she stands up, leaves the short sword dug into the table, but as she stands, you see she has a long sword as well.
Mhm.
And she walks around the desk to stand in front of you, makes kind of just a disgusted, and all of the rest of you watch as she pulls off a glove and slaps Arbin across the face with it, doing so in such a way that she still kind of connects with her fist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to have you mark injury, Arbin, but I think you, unless you are braced, you're going to be knocked over.
Yeah, yeah. Even if I was braced, I'm going to give her. I'm going to give her the satisfaction. Falls to the ground. I'm giving her what she wants because she is not entirely rational, and resistance is worse than this.
You over from the corner, you hear the Count muttering under his breath what you suspect are lots of Marcus 8 swears. You know, he's just like, oh, this is
This is not what he wanted for the day.
no. She says, "You will meet me in the dueling ring, where I will have my satisfaction."
Oh damn.
Oh yeah. I will get myself back up. I will bow and say, at the time you request, which might be immediately if she's really pissed.
Yeah, you can watch her kind of running through that mental math.
That's
Like she kind of wants to just have it like right now,
of course she does.
but she takes a moment, kind of looks around at the rest of you. Will one of you be his second?
Clem speaks up.
I.
You came here today, Arbin. Tell me why.
A couple of days ago, I was reminded of a different part of my past, and so when I found that you were here, first I ran, and then I was convinced by my friends that I should run no longer and to face what I have done. That is the most honorable thing I can do at this point.
Honorable. Very well. We shall put your decision not to run to the test. I will meet you in the dueling ring. We will have one made in the center of town. Noon tomorrow. To the death. And then she storms out of the room.
Oh, dude.
Well, that could have gone worse.
Out of character
Yeah.
laughing, not
Yeah.
Marvin's not laughing in
That, well,
character.
hey, laughing as a reaction to all of that stress is completely normal.
Clem, and
Ugh.
Clem looks at Lancelot and goes, "Right. So let me get this straight. If he wins the duel, we kill a duke of the Marquisate. If he loses, we lose Arvid. I don't think it could have gone any worse."
The Count says, I hope that you will keep this, as you say, discreet. If I request that you would make my life a great deal easier if you were to, in fact, run away and leave town.
I like you.
Okay, just so I'm sure.
I liked you more an hour ago.
Yeah, no, and Peppa's going to you kind of use her feathers to flurry them out of the room.
And Clem,
So I can
like,
be sure the Count was saying make his life easier by running.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah,
Because
yes,
the exact situation that was just described, which is
Don't make
my
him-
boss has just made an extraordinarily reckless decision that I see going a number of really bad ways, and I would presume to just eliminate the problem. Yeah.
All right, let's go. I have an idea.
Clem just looks at you, looks at the Count, and he's like, Lancelot? Lancelot,
I have an idea. Let's go.
I
all right, guys,
I
yep,
hope-
I
shoo, shoo.
think we're moving. I think we're
Yeah,
moving.
Yeah,
You're
so
going-
you
you're
are
going
you
to-
are you are bustling yourselves out
Yes.
of the town hall.
Don't forget to
Retrieving
get
our weapons.
Yep.
Hmm
I would like to give my my map of possible hideouts.
I think as you
on her
leave the,
desk.
as you oh you put it on the count's desk.
Yeah. Put it on his desk, then leave.
Okay, like he looks like he doesn't have the bandwidth to process what that is
Okay.
right now.
Yep.
But yeah, I think just as you are leaving the town hall and you're kind of with the guards getting your weapons back, you can just a little ways away. There's a one last moment of the Duke getting back into her sort of fancy caravan wagon, and there's one last look of just you know dead eye eye contact. Just,
Oh boy.
Lancelot, I hope that smile of yours has gotten better because I have no idea how you and your banjo
Okay.
are going to get us out of this.
So once we're away, I'm gonna get close to Arvin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, two questions.
Mhm.
How badass is the Duke in the dueling ring?
She's one of the best blades in the Marquisate.
That sticks a pin in my idea.
Were you legitimately thinking about killing the Duke?
No. I was thinking about setting up a whispering campaign to get her to back down. But if she's that good, then she's not going to.
No. She knows how good I am, and she's better.
Right. Okay. See, I was hoping that she was somebody you could reasonably take on.
Well,
Not a paper tiger.
I think what I'll suggest, Arvin, is that she has that reputation.
Right. But I've never actually
You've
faced
never
her.
seen her fight, and as far as you know, it has actually been a while.
Okay.
But nonetheless, she does have a reputation of being the best blade in the Marquisate.
Okay. And the thing is that even if it's not true, even if you could take her, the fact that she has that reputation means she can't back down.
Right.
I was hoping to get her to at least like go to First Blood or to the Yield or what have you. But my plan was
I
hinging
killed
on.
I killed Lord Taggart. I don't think First Blood's going to cut it with her.
I was kind of hoping that you'd be able to knock her out, but that's probably really unlikely. If she's that good.
if at the best I think it's a coin flips of a chance.
Yeah,
Even but the thing is, with her reputation, if he does anything
Other than kill
than
her,
it will give her such a disgrace that she would be honor bound to pursue him to get her honor back.
Yep. My squire has learned at my feet quite well how this all goes, and I thank you for being my second. Although there is a possibility none of you would like it.
I
Especially
shoot her from the trees and distract her. That was my
No.
option too.
No, I had not considered that as an option. No, the other option is that before you pack your possessions and you all leave town, and tomorrow I face them. To put a point on it, Lancelot, the music alone.
Well,
No,
wait,
that's a stupid idea.
wait. Lancelot,
Hmm.
you think that instead of a whisper campaign to get her to lower the stakes of the duel, that you could sow discord in her leadership because of her actions?
Well, see, the thing is that's one of the things I was thinking about was that she's exceeding her authority here, and but here's the thing though: by asking for a duel instead of just slaughtering him, she hasn't. She's kept it within the realm of her authority. So
And the law, yeah. So I mean, she's totally legitimate in asking for a duel to the death.
Yeah.
What I will say, in line with what Nigel had realized in this too, though, is I think that while that's true, I just realized everyone's in the wrong places again, or at least no, just I changed Nobilis's name tag. The other piece of that is just, even though that's true, that from a legal standpoint, duels are a thing that happens, and she can challenge someone to a duel and so on. It is also true that to the death is kind of in bad taste, and also she's a duke, she's got stuff to do.
Yeah.
There are people that are going to feel like, is this what we're spending our time on?
yeah.
There are going to be people who are really irritated with her that she would risk her own life this way.
Yeah. So what do you think about taking that tack and somehow playing it up, boosting that? Try, okay.
Perhaps
Arbin, maybe you know something about her entourage. Does she have someone close to her that would have her ear? Who is
Well-
her second in the duel?
Preferably someone who you didn't kill.
I mean, exactly. Taggart would have been the obvious choice, but I killed.
Well,
let's-
but
I
at
don't
the
know
same
her-
time, you also know that he was also a hothead.
Yes, yeah, because he challenged me to a duel. It's like,
Yeah,
that's a pass.
Yeah.
It's yeah, birds of a cats of a feather
So
flock together.
we're completely passing on the option of
Murder.
just- no, not murder. I'm kind of in favor of murder. Just running, just taking to the air and running away in the night, and let her find out tomorrow, have her little hissy fit, and maybe she sends off some soldiers to follow us, but she's here because of the blight and the resources, and maybe she can get focused on the other stuff that she needs to do.
Peppa, if we were to run, if that includes me, if we were to run, she wouldn't send a few soldiers after us. She would come herself.
I would allow someone to do sort of a retroactive figure someone out here.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I
Well,
think.
Yeah.
figure someone out is a charm roll. Just saying.
Oh, okay. Maybe Lance will let you do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
think-
so yeah. All right. So let me kind of see about my impressions of this.
I hope you have better luck than me.
I rolled a 5 plus 3 is an 8.
Okay, so on an 8, 7 to 9, you basically get one of these questions, right? And we're obviously not doing spend hold while interacting in this context, but we can,
No.
So I think this is sort of a the questions are: is your character telling the truth? What is your character really feeling? What does your character intend to do? What does your character wish I'd do? How could I get your character to blank? And so I think
Yeah. How could I get your character to back down?
I think that while she is being kind of irrational on this subject, there is something in her still that does care about her normal duties.
Right.
And if it could be made clear to her that she was losing the respect of her people by pursuing the duel, that might do it. The other piece that I'll just throw in there, though, is that you think it's actually possible, based on the interactions she had with Arban, that if you did run, it would return to the previous situation where she would think less of Arban, she would think him a coward for running, but that would allow her to sort of reset to the status quo that she had before, and without necessarily needing to feel like she needs to hunt him down. But that's an impression. You don't know that for sure. I think it's just
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
like, because she seemed to be making a big deal about how he ran before, she expected him to run again, and that the whole
Yeah.
thing about waiting till tomorrow was we're going to put that to the test.
All right. So let's leave the bug out in the middle of the night as an option. But I'm your second.
No,
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Clem is my second.
Clem is your second. That's right. I was about to. Clem jumped in and ahead of me.
I
'cause-
appreciate that both of you wanted to.
So Clem, it is traditional, as I understand how these things work, for the seconds to meet before the duel to arrange the details. And I think it would be possible to, depending on who her second is and how much of her ear he has, that we may be able to convince her that, win or lose, this is going to cost her more than she wants.
So basically, work the psychology on the second, the two of you together.
Yeah. So I think that you and I should go over to her encampment or whatever in order to talk to her second and see what can be done there.
I'll go ahead and say that, assuming that you're following the Marcus 8 rules for all of this thing, that having the seconds meet ahead of time is part of that tradition, and that I'll just go ahead and say, for the sake of establishing it, that for a noon duel, it is traditional for the seconds to meet at dawn of that day.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have to decide whether we're bugging out or I'm going through with this now.
Or we could buck tradition and go talk to the second tonight.
Well, you don't know yet who it would be.
Yeah, she
Oh,
didn't
okay.
name him or her.
And
Okay.
Clem,
Or them.
and Clem looks at you and says,
Do we know who she's likely to pick?
Since I bugged out, I don't know. I wouldn't know probably. Is there a chance I would know, OGM?
I think that you don't have any way to know as things stand. It is perhaps something that you all could try to find out, but I don't
Yeah.
think there's any way to guess. Because she like, you saw some soldiers that were there in the room, but she didn't have anyone else there
Yeah.
in the moment.
Let's go
Yeah.
talk to the count and see if he knows.
And Clem looks at Lancelot, looks at Armin, and says, "That's fine, but I just hope whatever divine being exists in this world, that her second isn't the daughter of the man you killed."
You had to go and say it! Oh my God! Now Christiana can't do anything else.
No,
You should know better. Oh my God!
Oh,
You
no.
never say the worst thing in front of the DM. You said save that for private messages, dude.
I couldn't help
Oh
it.
my God!
I couldn't help it. The DM asked if I was a god. Well, the next time you say yes.
Oh man. See, you know, you really tie my hands with these sorts of things, don't you?
Handing you the gift bow wrapped. Listen,
Jason, all right, so
Armin
forget that
Ringer
plan.
for sure.
Forget that plan.
if I thought of it, come on.
No, there's a chance. There is a chance. There is a slim chance.
No, you know,
All right, so
if
we're
it wasn't her, it was going to be someone else, you know, troublesome too. So
yeah.
For sure.
I mean, think about how this works though. Like, who's she going to pick, right?
And
Yeah.
also, why would they have not been there in this moment? Like, the reveal was there. And they were lovers before he killed the father. Like, it wrote itself.
Yeah, I kind of mind the popular tropes and Christiana's running with it full on, which is her job, you know.
Yeah. So I'll
All
pack.
right. So
While you
now
guys
that
are
we've
doing
decided
that-
we're going to bug out in the middle of the night.
Right.
Oh,
Or, I mean, if you
we are vagabonds, right? I mean,
if you think
why should we spoil a perfect record?
Yeah, let's. We've got supplies. We're
Yeah.
mostly rested up. Let's.
I assume we over the period of time that we've been waiting, we can clear exhaustion.
Well, I mean, oh, you mean like the week and all that was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yeah, you could have everything cleared probably by this point.
That's good to know. Yeah.
yeah, not a. So, are we gonna be running then?
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
let's put it this way: we skedaddle, we wait for the Duke to finish her business, and we come back to the count, and you know, so we did what you wanted.
No, I think he just wants us gone.
He wants us.
Yeah.
So let's
So,
just hit the road and keep going.
Actually, I'm thinking that taking the road into another Marcasite clearing is a bad idea. I'm thinking overland to the ruins.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
do that.
We can do that.
now, the only problem is, how far do you think we can get in the night?
Well, no, I actually forget the night. We leave now. We gather our stuff, and get going.
Unless she has a cadre of soldiers to stop us, seeing as she has hinted at the fact she thinks he would run.
Well, perhaps we.
Well, it might take a little
It-
running. It might take some siding. It might take some dodging. You know, I'm not saying we're going to saunter out of town.
Quickly and quietly, and
Let's
So-
just not make a fuss and let's
Out the
not
back
make
door
a fuss
and-
and just leave. Okay.
Clem is gonna look out the window of the roadhouse.
Okay.
Does it look like there's any sort of deterrent of us departing?
No, there's not like a garrison surrounding the roadhouse or anything.
Okay.
Recall that, like, even with the guards were relatively spread thin before, and there's more now, but they're here because they're doing something, right? Like,
Right, and they've got more to guard.
mhm.
yeah.
So
So yeah.
Now, to be fair, in character, we don't technically know if
Who
it
the
is
second?
the daughter. Yes.
No,
Mhm.
not in, no, but still, there's the whole,
I mean, we can, okay, Christiana, can we take it as read that Clem and Lancelot go to the Count,
and
find out who the second is. It's the dramatically appropriate person, and then come back and say, okay, yeah, can we take that as read? Do we want to play that out? I don't
See, because when you put it like that, it almost makes it go the other way, right? Like I
Yeah.
have to have it still be a surprise. Like I think so. I think what you can know for sure without
Yeah.
hand waving is
Yeah.
that she's going to pick someone that's going to be a problem,
Yeah,
right?
that we know.
Now that said, I mean, bear in mind we did establish, with your, you did get that question, that figure someone else out question, right? And it is
Yeah.
true that if you were going to get someone to get her to back down, it would need to be someone who might be able to communicate to her that she shouldn't do this, right? Now, she's probably going to pick as her second someone that she thinks is going to have her back, but that doesn't mean they need to agree
can't
with
be-
everything.
and
Right.
they can't be
So,
convinced.
I guess what I will say in the meta
Mhm.
is that I will make whoever she picks dramatically interesting based on the scenario as it plays out, without confirming or denying any specific individual.
All right. So
but-
let's play out that bit then.
So-
So Clem, let's you and I go talk to the Count and find out who the second is, and then go talk to them.
Indeed.
I mean, let's play that part out.
So you go back. It's just Clem and Lancelot.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not appropriate for me to be there.
Sure.
This is a second's job, so
So I think that as
that's an evil thought, Jason. You just put in chat. Don't go there.
It's a,
That's even more evil in some ways.
so I think that as you go back into town and you make your way back to the town hall, there's a little bit of that was quick. Are you not like, okay, but you go through and you hand over, any weapons again.
Mhm, mhm.
The Count, you're told in the waiting room that the Count is in another meeting, but would you say that, like, time is a factor in an urgent request that he made of us?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think he does have this other person that you don't recognize come out and goes back in, and so as you come back in, he is just like, the fact that you are back again so soon makes me think you are not taking my advice. Yes.
We've got a few cards to play.
And a question.
Do you know who the Duke either has chosen or is likely to choose as her second?
I do not know for a fact. I do know that there are a couple of. See, now I'm just like I'm gonna flip a coin because I had another idea, and then but this other idea is so good too.
Oh no. Yeah, boy.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm going with my original idea. And he says, I do not know the man, but my understanding is that she has been had at her side recently a chinchilla by the name of James.
You're evil, Cristiano. You're so evil. You're so evil.
We love you to death.
You're evil.
Man, I could just I could just hug you so hard around the neck right now.
What can I say? I don't want you to run away.
And you thought I was that. See? Again.
All right. So how about this? I'm going to actually suggest that dramatic reveal will be the button on tonight's session,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
Okay.
let's do our session
Full agreement.
moves.
Full agreement.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at drives. Nigel, you've got ambition, increase your reputation with any faction. I think some of that's pending.
Maybe.
Yeah. Development, contribute to a lasting development or improvement to entire cleaning. I think we gave you that for the blight cure last time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't get it again this time. For
Oh.
Arbin, folk hero, advance when you perform a significant act of service or heroism on behalf of the denizens, or
Nope.
no, not this time. Although certainly there's potential in some of this that some of that might happen.
If you kill a duke, they'll definitely tell your story.
Then there's Wanderlust, which you
Yep, nope.
have.
Yep.
You're probably not doing this time. Then, and then
Not yet.
for Lancelot, you also have
Yeah.
Wanderlust, anti-militarist. Well, you know what? Killing a duke would sabotage a non-denizens faction's armies, but you didn't do that this time. So, Clem, wanted doesn't come into play this time either. Mysteries advance also. I don't.
Although, if he kills a duke, I might have another bounty to go on.
I think that what James is up to and what all that is, it would be a mystery that could count later, but just discovering his presence isn't. And then anti-militarist and wanderlust for Peppa's.
Yeah.
So all right. So yeah, I think we will leave it there, and we will find out what happens with the stool. What's going to happen? We'll find out when we return next week for more Root the Role-Playing Game on so many levels.
Oh my
Doom.
The drama.